So how do successful and profitable traders think? Today we talked to Jason Bush from the Chart Guys, one of the most successful trading channels on YouTube, both in markets and in crypto. Jason, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
So before I move on, I gotta ask you, before you became a trader, before you are doing what you are doing now, what were you like? If I met you in high school, what would
Yeah.
Jason be like?
Probably just the gray man. Just slipped into every group, didn't really fit in or out of any other social network. So I had a lot of friends in different places and just sort of floated around into different groups. So
Right. And
nothing crazy.
nothing great. You just
Yeah.
and you were living in
I grew up in a little town called Barhead, northern Alberta. So
nice.
about 6 hours from the Arctic Circle and a lot of wintertime and snow and that sort of thing.
Great. And
Yeah.
how did you get involved in trading? How did you
Oh
start?
man. So I'd finished my master's degree in the very profitable area of medical anthropology.
Hmm.
Um, and I went into that degree knowing that I wasn't going to be doing anything with it, but it taught me to do research and analysis. So I decided I wanted to try and capitalize on the money that I was making, make it work for me, started researching, investing, and trading. And then I quickly realized that the only thing that I could actually control was my own understanding of the markets. So if you go down that rabbit hole, it becomes pretty clear that technical analysis and your way is your only way to comprehend and analyze and understand the markets because it's pure data that can't be manipulated, like
Hmm.
news or even social opinion. So I just started researching technical analysis.
And I guess technical analysis also shows when it's being manipulated in a way.
Yeah, it's the result of the manipulation, right? So if you see your chart increasing in price, you know that something is driving that price. Price is the only truth in the market.
Mhm.
Everything else can be manipulated or is subjective to your interpretation. Uh, Price is pure.
Now, how did you get involved in crypto though? Do you trade crypto, or is it just the chart guys that gets involved in that?
Well, we did. I did some crypto last year, and I only really did it by proxy.
Hmm.
So the fact that everyone in our community was so interested in it, and because there are technical setups that were really quite favorable and executed really well, I migrated to crypto along with a large part of our community.
Right.
So I don't know a lot about the technology behind cryptocurrencies. I understand the basics, but to me, a chart is a chart, and there were some excellent setups and opportunities. So we migrated, we pivot, and we trade what's moving quickly and what responds well to technical analysis. And when that fades, we move on to the next market. So for a good part of the last year, cryptocurrencies was the place to be.
Hmm. And how about now?
We chart it for our community. I don't trade it very often because we're so busy in different sectors that are very profitable. But I've sort of fallen in love with the concept, and I really want to see crypto, do its thing. And there's so many unique and excellent applications. I want to match that excitement with the return of a good tradable ecosystem where we can have these consistent wins and where little guys are able to capitalize on those sort of trade opportunities. Right now, it's really focused on riding the coattails of these big whales who are doing excellent jobs of trading in their own sort of niche, but it's harder for us as small traders to capitalize on opportunities. So I'm looking forward to the return of that, if and when it comes.
So I know you met Dan from a forum, if I remember correct, because I actually interviewed Dan for the Crypto Factor
Yeah.
Part 1. By the way, this is for the Crypto Factor Part 2, anybody that's watching right now. And I'm going to leave links to Jason and everything in the chart guys down below. So you guys met in a forum, is that correct?
Yeah, sort of. We was on Reddit, maybe 2013, 2014.
Hmm.
And Dan has been posting some charts and technical analysis for marijuana penny stocks.
Mm.
So he was making very outlandish claims like get 50 to 100% returns on your trades. It's easy. I'll show you how. He sounded like an infomercial, right?
Right.
And he just got ripped to shreds by people in these communities who are very conservative, long-term investors. Let's get 4% a year and be happy with it and like just edge out the market. Uh, but he's posting information. And I figured that if it was a scam or anything other than just pure knowledge, it would be very evident, because you can't, on a small scale, like individually, manipulate charts. So price is truth.
Hmm.
And if he's telling the truth, then we'll be able to see it in action. So I spent a lot of time following the comments that he was making, asking him questions, trying to poke holes in what he was presenting, right? Trying to find a flaw. Where's the snake oil in this guy? And, he wasn't right 100% of the time, but no technical analyst is.
Hmm.
But the information that he was sharing seemed to be effective enough that it warranted investigating. So yeah, I just went down a rabbit hole and started studying more technical analysis, ordering my own books, trying to learn more about it, asking more questions. And that's really where it took off.
I bet you a lot of these people that were more 4% a year paid more attention. So, how did you guys, the chart guys is a very
Yep.
successful channel. It talks about trading in gold and in commodities and
Mm-hmm.
everything all up. What do you think is behind the channel's success? What made it succeed so much?
I think primarily because we're not profit driven as a company, which is probably not a great idea for a company, but we've always been founded on the idea that we want to teach people to do what we can do. So we spent years learning technical analysis, watching the markets, getting experiential knowledge. And we see someone, let's say yourself, for example, who've never traded before. They jump into crypto, they lose $10,000 overnight.
Hmm.
And in a lot of ways, the market manipulates those sort of people because it's designed to extract money from individual retail traders. So we decided if we can teach people, at least on a fundamental level, how to read the charts and understand manipulation and understand the best and worst times to get into a chart from a purely technical perspective, then we can help a lot of people. So that's sort of what we started doing. We made a chat room in 2014 that we had a couple hundred people in, all about technical analysis, all about just helping and teaching. We took a break, and then we decided, like, why don't we actually just focus on education? Like, let's make a community that doesn't tell people when to buy or sell, doesn't give them any hand holding. We will just teach them how to read charts.
Hmm.
So that's what we did. And we create videos. We almost never tell people to buy or sell. In fact, I don't think we ever really have plainly said
I would
to
have
buy.
bought.
Yeah. We never do
This is what
that.
you told me.
And that's a dangerous thing, right? So we are always cognizant of that, because if we tell people to buy something, they would. And that is how a lot of different personalities build up their audience and use that audience
Yeah.
for their own benefit. So we've just always steered away from that. Focused on teaching, focused on objective understanding of the markets, and trying to help people help themselves, really.
Right. And your growth has been phenomenal. What drove you to get where you are as a trader? What made you want to be a trader? Like, what was the driving factor behind it, if you will? Was it profit? Was it freedom? Hey, Paul here. Let me jump in real quick. If you're getting value so far from watching this video, then please consider subscribing down below and hitting that bell notification button. It will help me, and you get to watch more videos like this one. Thank you, and let's jump back into the video.
Initially, it was profit. I was working at the time. I had finished my master's. I was working as an engineer, making good money, but nothing insane. And I decided, like, the only way to have my money work for me was either throw it into mutual funds or find a better way. So I started researching, and it was driven by profit. And as I got into more technical analysis, my career background is in data analysis, and the price analysis sort of really appealed to me in the sense of it's just pure data that I could look at. And then soon, profit became way less important than being correct. And now I am driven largely by being accurate. And it drives me crazy when I'm wrong. And I get almost no satisfaction about being correct. So I'm always just sort of in this endless loop of trying to find that perfect satisfaction of being correct. And that negative reinforcement of being incorrect is a big motivator for me. So yeah, it's always about just, did I understand this and execute this properly? Because I'm leading a lot of people, and I need to make sure that I'm on top of my game, that my technical analysis of the markets is correct. So yeah, that's always it. It's always about being correct more than being wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you this, Jason, if you were not a trader, what would you be doing? And I don't mean as in my previous job. What do you see yourself being?
Oh, if I could do anything right now, it would be, I would go finish my PhD, anthropology.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was almost this close to thinking you would say I would start an ICO, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't, but I'm just saying it would be funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think I've ever figured out what I want to do
Right.
career. And then I just sort of fell into this, and I love doing it, and I love the community. So I'll keep doing this as long as I can. As long as there's someone to talk to about charts, I'll keep doing it. But if I ever have the opportunity to go and do something else without any other commitments, I would love to go back to academics and finish my degree and PhD.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what does success mean to you?
Being correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What about success in life?
Again, I'm not sure I'll ever figure that one out. I don't think I've ever been content, as my wife says. I'm always driven to find new things and accomplish new things. And there's always something on the horizon I want to accomplish. And if I'm not working toward a goal, I feel restless. So I guess success is being able to consistently reach your goals, whatever they may be, and always having something that you're working toward.
Right.
Yeah.
So on that note, do you think anybody can succeed in life?
Yeah. It all comes down to what you are happy with. As a sure what the right word is, as a hobbyist, I study Stoicism, and Stoicism says, in its most basic form, that your happiness is directly related to how you decide to interpret your world. So you can decide to be happy, you can decide to be bad. Everything outside of your mind is out of your control. So you must decide if you're going to be happy or you're going to be unhappy. So in that vein, yes, everyone can be successful, everyone can be happy. It's always going to come down to opportunities that are given to you, more so being able to capitalize and choosing to execute on risks and making decisions that allow you to be, for lack of a better word, profitable in your own life. A lot of people are presented opportunities, but they are scared and they don't chase those dreams and those ambitions and those opportunities. So,
do you think a stoic mindset is essential for success?
In my career, it certainly doesn't help. Sorry, it doesn't hurt.
I was about to say.
Yeah, being able to detach and look at things that are outside your control and don't allow them to influence your emotions is absolutely critical for trading in particular. A lot of people who find moments of failure in their trading careers will often trace those bad decisions to having emotional influences on them at the time. So if you can detach from outside influences in the sense of Stoic teachings and translate that to your own trading, where you detach yourself from your money, from the risk, and look at things purely objectively, you can have a lot of success that way.
Right. So just for our viewers, a Stoic mindset, Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy. There's two schools of thought. There's the Stoics and the Epicureans. Stoics is more of a work now to get things done later on in life. It's more of an entrepreneurial mindset. It's something that you can only control. If you can't control everything, you can only control how you react to it and so forth. Whilst Epicurean is live for the moment. You could die tomorrow, YOLO. If I hear that one more time, I'll prove it. Both schools of thought is correct. Depends on you. Just wanted to say that for our viewers. And so, hit a like if you agree with Stoicism. So do you think anybody, on that note, do you think anybody could be a trader?
No. There are a lot of people who, for various reasons, just don't fit well with the demands of trading. There can be many different things. You don't have the time to commit to the markets. You don't have the ambition to study certain aspects of it.
Stoicism.
Some people are just not interested in numbers, right? But you need to have time, and you need to be excited about reading news in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
News drives price, and price is what we look at in technical analysis. Some people can't adjust to the risk, and they have a hard time getting rid of that emotional attachment to their money, especially new traders who have saved up $10,000 over the last 4 or 5 years, and they want to get into trading. It is so difficult for anyone to detach your emotional commitment to that money that you work so hard for, put it up. And we, as guides, I guess, tell you, just remove your attachment to the money. It'll be a lot better for you. Emotional control, right? It's all good, and you'll succeed. But it's almost impossible for someone who has put so much of their life into saving up this money to just step back and say, I don't care what happens to it, because they do care. And people will grow as they grow in trading. And if they take small losses, they get accustomed to the idea that you can lose some days and win some days, as long as your wins outweigh the losses. But some people know they just never get that opportunity or that detachment. And that emotional aspect of trading plagues them, and basically makes it so they can't be successful traders.
And I had a mentor, because I used to do a little bit of technical analysis. I used to teach in Forex. I used to teach, never used to do it that much. And that was a case of those who can't do teach, even though I don't believe in that saying in general. When I started trading, I was very emotional. I was always on block folio, especially in crypto. It was just going up and down like crazy. I was running out of bed.
Yeah.
It was really bad. But I became more of a long-term trader rather than a day trader.
Yeah.
It was just easier for me.
Well, that's true for a lot of people. I find that even a lot of our leadership team, there'll be days where if a certain person is in charge of the chat room and our live market broadcasts that we do, they don't actually trade that day. They will just focus completely on providing objective analysis. Because as much as we praise and tell people to be objective in your trading, step away from it, look at it objectively, it's almost impossible to do that if you are in a position, because you have made a decision, bull or bear, and you are betting on that happening with your own dollars. So you cannot provide objective analysis. So yeah, there is a merit to teaching while you're not trading, as you alluded to.
So let me ask, also I remember my mentor had me read a book and told me you can study it first for 1 or 2 years. Now, that may seem like a long time, but lawyers, it takes what, 4 to 6 years, doctors maybe a little bit more. Is that correct? Do you think people need to study technical analysis for that long before they get into it? Or do you think people get into it too soon?
I think this is a case where a little bit of knowledge can cause you a lot of problems. If you don't know anything about trading and you're just buying or selling companies that you want, as long as you know that that's your approach, that's fine. But some people come in and they'll just watch a few technical analysis videos, learn about support and resistance, and start making some basic decisions, and they miss a lot of things. So I don't know if there is a certain amount of time that you need to dedicate to technical analysis or your own education of the markets. I am in a constant state of learning, so I've been doing it for how many years now, I don't know. But there's always something new I learn every day. I always try to bring in new knowledge. But I think if you are just going to trade and you need to educate yourself, you probably would need like 6 months of hard studying, like treating it as your full-time job, just studying everything that you can find about technical analysis. And then you probably need, like I'm just guessing here, another year to apply that knowledge, because what you have in a classroom rarely ever works out the same way in the field. So you need that experiential knowledge. And I think that in a lot of ways is why communities like ours are successful, because we can share experiential knowledge directly. People can ask questions and we can say, this is what we think and why. And if you just have a textbook, you can't ask questions to it. So we do our videos where we try to explain the how and the why behind price action. And in a lot of ways that speeds people's experience up and their accumulation of that experiential knowledge from peer education.
Got you. So what would you say actually, what would it actually take to become a successful trader?
What would it take to become a successful trader? I think the stomach to handle losses, to know that there's a better tomorrow, and the ability to Go back and analyze your mistakes objectively, learn from every single error that you make, and have the fortitude and the ability to remember those and to use that knowledge to prevent future mistakes.
Right.
You can win 6 out of 10 trades and still be profitable. But until you go back and look at those mistakes that you made and learn from them, you're not going to increase that ratio very much.
Got you. So how do you handle failure, and do you need to fail to succeed?
How do I handle failure? Well, like I said, I don't like being wrong. So that negative reinforcement, it doesn't bother me so much that I failed, but it bothers me that I was incorrect, and I need to analyze and understand why that was. So I don't mind failing. We've had many projects that just don't work out, but every single one of them we were able to take a little bit of information for. We had a platform for alerts that we made for stocks 3 years ago. It ultimately failed, but all of the information and the knowledge and the experience that we had from building that product, we took that information, we used it to build our alert system, which is still going strong for cryptocurrency. And it's all about being able to use your experience to your advantage.
Mm-hmm. Do you think mentors are important, and did you have any mentors?
I don't know. For me, I guess Dan could be construed as a mentor in the sense that I asked him a lot of questions, and I know he certainly feels that I was the first person that he taught. But my perspective was always that I was self-driven in my education, but Dan was a person that I could go to whenever there was something I didn't understand. So yeah, I guess he was a mentor in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah. But like all through my education and in academics, it was always about me doing things for me, finding out things for me, learning myself. So having a person that can answer questions for you on any sort of scale, yes, critical in almost any career choice that you're making. They have been through the things that you're going through. They've made mistakes that you don't have to make. And having them to throw questions at, bounce ideas off of, more important than I thought than when you asked me a few minutes ago. Get a little bit of perspective there.
Okay, glad I can help. Do you have any daily habits or morning rituals?
Daily habits, morning rituals. My life is very chaotic. I've got 5 kids.
Oh wow!
And it's a big mess. So what I do, most of my morning rituals, I think, are my night rituals. Before I go down, I check the markets. I make a mental list of all the things that I'm interested in doing. Any questions that I have to people anyone who presents questions to me, I make notes of, and then I've just got a little ledger that I use to reference in the morning. The market opens at 6:30 a.m. here on the West Coast, so I strive to get up at 5:30. Doesn't always work. So often I just hit the markets running 15 minutes before open. I review everything that I have. If I need a good refresher, I'll go watch some content that we've put out. Dan covers the daily market broadcasts regularly, so I'll watch those, refresh my brain, and then I use my pre-market time to set things up. And that's really it. Other than that, it's responding to opportunities that are presented. One of the most amazing parts of our community is that we've created like a spy network of thousands of people who are trained to look for setups that we like and understand, that we know work. So it's constantly like a beehive of ideas where I rarely need to look for setups anymore because people are just talking about them all the time. So yeah, a night ritual, preparing for the markets, and then just having a daily step-by-step thing where I go through and accomplish my tasks. I'm very focused on the business aspect of Chart Guys more so than the trading aspects, but they're part and parcel of the same.
Nice. I was going to ask what a typical day looks like for you, but I think you just pretty much covered it. But what is daily?
I can go into a little bit of detail.
Please do.
So if let's say I get up on time and I'm at the computer 5:30 in the morning, I start watching the pre-market, look at the chatter, see what's going on in the community, and then I spend about 45 minutes doing emails, getting people set up, new clients, answering questions, and we usually get about 200-300 emails a day across all our platforms in a busy week. And once I knock those emails out, I have some time to look at the markets. I watch the morning broadcasts that we do whoever's watching it has so much insight. And throughout the day, once the early morning rush is over and setups are building, I just keep those charts open. I cycle through them, answer emails. I project manage our developers. So I will be in constant communication with them, checking in on programs. So it's basically look at my trading station for a minute, go back to my emails, see how the devs are doing. And that essentially continues to market close at 1 o'clock. If I'm smart, I'll remember to eat. If not, I'll do it after market close. And then after market close, it's all about research. I look for content to add to our community. I work on courses, do recordings like videos. And that continues until I burn out, probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then have dinner. And because I love this stuff, I just start doing it again after dinner. So
Nice.
yeah.
It makes me wonder how you had enough time to have 5 kids. By the way, I just want to say, may they live a long, healthy, and prosperous life. It's something we say in Greece. How old is your oldest kid, and how old is your youngest?
12, 10, 8, and twins are 4.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That must be awesome. So tell me about your hobbies. Do you have time for any hobbies other than trading, looking at charts? I'm pretty sure that you said you loved it so much that's part of your life, but anything else other than that?
Well, I do consider it a hobby. I love talking about it, and I spend so much time. I often sign off on my videos, like in the afternoon broadcasts. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gone for the weekend. It's Friday, and I'll talk to you guys in 10 minutes because I'll be in the shower room. So,
Right.
yeah, I never really leave. Hobbies, I try to find things that are, I guess I'm drawn to things that are easy to manage. I do, fitness is a big thing. So I try to maintain some sort of interest in fitness, be it running or weightlifting. I recently got back into archery. So I shoot recurve. And then I have a lot that just float around in the peripheral. I used to be a photographer, so once in a while I'll get my cameras out and go have fun. I like to be outside. So the family just bought a 5-acre farm here, and now we're all learning a little bit and realizing that we have way more to do than we anticipated. Yeah.
So did you just say you have a farm?
We bought a 5-acre parcel of land here, and there's a barn that's empty, a big chicken coop that's empty, and a few pastures that we have no business doing anything with, but we decided to make a go of it. So we're going to get some chickens, and we planted a little bit of an orchard and some blueberries, and take it slow and see how it goes. So that's where all my time outside of charts is going to be for the foreseeable future.
I actually have some land as well. I was thinking about not animals, but start to plant stuff and try to do that kind of stuff. It's nice. It brings you back to nature.
I do bonsai trees as well.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
I don't think of them as a hobby because they're so rarely interactive. Like, I think there's a saying that bonsai is the most fun you can have for 15 minutes 3 or 4 times a year. And that's basically it. You check your tree. In the summer, you water it regularly. But as far as actually working on it, you don't do very much. So I've got 10 trees outside. And I like to do those. But that knowledge is transferred a lot over to our planting and the gardens.
So that's also kind of a form of meditation, if you will.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you read books?
I like the idea of reading books.
Okay.
I've got one that I've been reading for about 6 months that my wife got me. Whenever I have a spare moment in the car and I'm picking up kids from school, I have 20 minutes, I'll grab it and read it. But yeah, I really burned myself out in academia with reading. Got you.
So let's go back to crypto a little bit, or maybe let's go back to the markets. Where do you think we are going from here?
Well, that's a really broad question. I believe that the market overall has gone up always for the last 100 years, and there's no reason for it to slow down now. In the short term, a lot of it's going to be politically motivated. I believe that a lot of the market is already priced in potential turmoil in the American political system. I think it's just going to be a slow crawl, continuing what we've done. Granted, there's always pullbacks and recessions, but I am not in any position to be worrying about selling off my long-term investments. They're all still there. I stomached the big drop we had in the last couple of months, added more on the way down, and I think that's my approach moving forward. I, perhaps to an unhealthy degree, have detached from money that I use in my trading, and even it impacts my long-term investments as well.
Got you. And what do you think we should be looking out for?
Well, I think one of the big things that's going to be dictating the short and medium long-term future, short and medium long-term future. It's a good way to wrap up everything. Gold has been in a monthly and weekly equilibrium for a long time. And we have no idea which way that is going to break, but that break is probably going to be politically motivated, or at least influenced. So what I would be looking for is using the price of gold as a canary in the coal mine to determine what the overall markets are going to do. In a lot of ways, they're related to each other, and gold can be a safe haven for traditional investors to pile into when there's issues in the market. And when we get a setup like an equilibrium that has very defined entry and exits and action points, you can use that information to make your trades. So I think that the best thing to do is keep an eye on the price of gold right now. Watch that weekly and monthly equilibrium and see what happens.
I have a question. They say everyone says they put money in gold and turmoil. I actually collect gold as well, not for turmoil, but just in general to beat inflation. But in the last crisis, 2008, didn't gold go down as well?
It may have. I don't recall exactly. At the time, I was working at Home Depot, so I wasn't really paying attention to the markets. But if people are pulling money out of investments, they're going to be pulling it out of everywhere. So if you have money in gold, you don't know what gold's going to do, and you're just in a full panic, you're going to sell everything and you're going to hoard your piles of money. And I would not be the least bit surprised if gold had a negative reaction to the overall global recession. I think more on a smaller scale, if there is a panic in a lot of the areas of the stock market in localized areas such as the United States, that we could see a beneficial move in gold because it's not a global panic and it's not having that ripple effect into other markets. Yeah, I think gold is often treated as a safe haven because everyone says it's a safe haven. So it's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way.
True. Should we be trading crypto right now? What do you think we should be doing in the markets?
If you've got a good stomach, crypto can still give you opportunities. It's just not the same sure bet that it was on the monster bull run that we had 2018. And a lot of people who got into trading started trading cryptocurrencies. And I think they thought that this was the way that trading was supposed to be. And even in the regular markets, it's been incredibly friendly to the bulls for a long time. And if that changes, there's going to be a lot of people who will have a massive period of painful adjustment to trading in a sideways or a bear market. So if you can stomach the losses that you may occur in a bear market, such as cryptocurrency, granted, there has been a couple of weeks of nice positive outlook on different coins. Crypto can still offer you opportunities. I think the big area that people should focus on is going to be the upcoming potential marijuana legalization in the United States. That, in a lot of ways, is already being priced into Canadian companies who saw a massive profitable streak that's still ongoing. But if there's a new market opened up anywhere, I don't care what it is, there are going to be companies and stocks and opportunities for you to focus on. So that's where I would send new people to learn in a nice, friendly bull market.
So do you think we're going to see a mega market for marijuana stocks? A mega bull pump?
I think so, yeah. Because right now we're limited in a lot of ways to trading Canadian companies. And Canada, both the financial aspects and the user base and the companies are so small in comparison to what the potential is for the States. It's like, 29 million people in Canada versus 450 million in the States, with a lot more money down there. So once things change legally, there's going to be so much more opportunity, so much more competition, and a lot more people are going to be able to get into that market from a business perspective. A lot of people simply can't dip their toes into marijuana anything because of the restrictions
Is there any way somebody can get involved right now? Is there a stock somebody can buy right now for that potentially that movement, or do they have to wait?
For to get into marijuana.
American.
Um, yeah, I don't want to list any specific names, but there are marijuana ETFs that you can take advantage of. There are large companies that will be well positioned to take advantage of American legalization.
Hmm.
And you just have to do a little bit of Google Foo to find what those are, and use your technical analysis to find your ideal entries.
Right. Now, what's the one question that you wish people asked you, but they don't?
That's a good question. Nothing comes to mind yet, but
Because most people ask the wrong questions, and kind of like wish they would ask a certain question so you can help them, but they never do. They always ask the wrong questions.
okay. I think what I would say is the wrong question that people ask is this a good time to buy something?
Mm,
And we don't get that in our community very often because we've taught people inherently in our videos that we don't do buy sell recommendations. But often you'll get someone who comes in and says, well, I'm looking at Amazon. Is this a good time to buy puts?
mm,
And we don't want them to ask that question. That's not a good question from a trader's perspective because you're relying entirely on someone else's input. They may be a mentor or someone in a leadership position, but our goal is to instill the confidence and the education in the individual that they can take information presented to them, analyze it, and make their own trade decisions. So instead of asking, is it a good time to buy puts? I'd like to see something like, based on the RSI at this level, weekly support here, and all these other factors, I'm thinking about buying puts. What is your interpretation of that? And that person is way more informed probably than I would be when they ask the question because they've done the research and I have to go back and do the same research. So, yeah.
nice. So I have a few more questions for you, but before we go there, real quick, where can people find you? Where can people contact you? What should they be looking for?
Chartguys.com is the website. And then we have our YouTube presence as well. We're on Instagram, Twitter, but a website, contact form, you'll get immediate response from me. And that's where we live, yeah.
I'm a huge fan, by the way, and I don't know if Dan told you I'm always watching. So I got a few questions. If you can give 5 tips to people that want to become traders, successful traders, what would that be?
5 tips. Study your foundational materials. Learn about like the basics of the market, what a chart is. Follow companies that you're interested in. Each ticker seems to have its own personalities that it reacts to news in different ways. It reacts to the markets in different ways. So study those, become friends with them, understand their personalities. 3, shut out outside influences. Stay off of certain websites where there's a lot of uneducated people with very brash opinions that can easily sway a new trader's mindset. If you have done your analysis and you're looking at the charts and you've decided that you're going to make a play and you're not confident in it, you can be derailed very easily by someone else's input. If you're the type of person that benefits from it, find a mentor that you trust that isn't trying to sell you something, because the vast majority of people and personalities in the space have realized that there is an excellent profitable niche in quote unquote education or buying and selling signals. So find someone who just simply wants to talk about it for the love of talking about it. And 5 would be strive as much as possible to create yourself an environment where you're not attached to the money that you are trading. That will be the biggest key between success and failure in trading anything. If you are emotionally tied to money and you have a physical or emotional reaction to seeing red numbers on your screen, you're not going to succeed because you are going to cut your losses early. You're going to lose profitable opportunities, and bit by bit, you're going to chip away at your stash and you're going to lose your portfolio just by making choices based on emotion.
Jason, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I just want to add one more tip. Go check out Jason. Go check out Dan from thechartguys.com. I'm a huge fan. You will
Thank you.
learn a lot. I'll leave all the links down below in the description.
Thank
Jason,
you.
thank you so much, man. I really appreciate what you did.
Yeah, me too. It was great to be here.
Okay, thank you. And thank you guys for watching. And until next time, keep succeeding.